Okay. Carly, are you there? I can't hear Carly.
I can't hear her either.
Can't hear you, Carly.
Too much background noise.
All right, Carly has muted all the other people. Mary, you can hear me, right?
Yep, I'm good now. Okay.
And Carly, are you on? You might be. I don't know if we can change. We're just waiting until exactly 7 o'clock to start here, folks. Thank you all for joining us early. I see the slides are up here, and Carly will be again muting everybody but the two hosts. I think I can do that. But if not, if you can, as a courtesy, if you're not the host, could you please mute your device? You know how. So 7 o'clock, let's get started. On behalf of the Membership Commission, my name is Mark D'Annunzio. I'm a co-chair of the Membership Commission, along with Carolyn Cianciata. And as my co-host tonight on the webinar, we have Mary Kovac from the Grand Lodge of Ohio, who is also a member of the Membership Commission. Carly Jerome from our national office, who is the Director of Operations and Programs, will be assisting us and running the slideshow as we go forward. So I just want to start off by saying that both Carly Jerome and Mary Kovac I consider to be quite expert in the area of social media. The order is very fortunate to have these two people helping us and also available to local lodges or Grand Lodges if there's any there's questions that need to be answered. So they are available and their help is extremely valuable. So I just would like to recognize them and their expertise and recognize Mary Kovac for putting this presentation together. And she will be the main presenter, and I will do kind of color commentary, if you will. Let me give a shout out to one of the members of the Grand Lodge of Florida. Tony Branco is the Director of Communications for the La Nova Cecilia Unita Lodge in Tampa. And he is also quite adept at social media. As a matter of fact, the president of the Grand Lodge of Florida, Carolyn Cianciata, asked him to do a presentation for one of our recent plenary sessions, and it was very informative and very useful. And Tony has communicated with me regarding comments on our presentation tonight, so I just wanted to give a shout out to him and thank him for his support for both his local lodge in Tampa and for the Grand Lodge of Florida. So with that being said, we're going to kick it off. And Carly, if you give us the next slide, please. Let's see her moving the button. All right, take it away, Mary.
All right. So hello, everyone. You've probably seen this slide before if you listened to any of our prior webinars. The last bullet in particular is where we want to focus for tonight's webinar. We mentioned it last time because we, Sons of Italy, are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, and LinkedIn, and we had a lot of questions around that. And so what we'd like to do is kind of expand on that so you as a local or a Grand Lodge can build your own social media site and hopefully begin to recruit members.
So let me just jump in here for a second. And what Tony pointed out is that communication methods, these are some of them, but certainly it's very, very important for each lodge to have their own website. And that's not, again, social media, so that's not the topic of today's presentation, but certainly it's an absolute must to have a website that drives people to the social media and gives them information regarding your local lodge or Grand Lodge. So please don't underestimate the power of a website for communications and getting people just in the front door, if you will, as an early means of communication. That said, this presentation is regarding social media, so we're concentrating on that. So thank you, Mary. Go ahead, Carly.
So if you're not familiar with social media, Facebook is probably the biggest for our organization. If you have a social media or if you have a Facebook account, that's wonderful. Hopefully you're following us. If not, you don't need to have a Facebook account to check out our Facebook page. So Sons of Italy, or Sons and Daughters of Italy, has 3 Facebook pages. The first one is an open page, and the details are kind of up there. You would do a search for Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America. Or you can, I don't know if that link is live, but you'd be able to click on that link or copy and paste it, and you'd find the page. We have about 75,000 followers on that page alone, so people are looking at it. It's, again, if you don't have a Facebook account, you can still go to that page and see what's the latest and greatest on our social media posts. The second one is specifically for young members, and we launched this within the last year for anyone under the age of 35. It's a closed group, and we encourage you to share it with your family, your friends, your children, your grandchildren, just to build in kind of the excitement at a younger generation.
Mary, if I could jump in there, please explain what a closed group is.
Good question. So if I went to Facebook, I would have to become a member of a closed, if I went to Facebook and I want to look up young members and I did not have an account, I would not be able to see it. So I'd have to build a Facebook account, and then I would have to essentially apply to get in. And our main office manages who gets into what group.
Okay, thank you.
So that's our young members group. And then we also have an at-large member closed group, or ALM, and this is for anyone who wants to be a member of our organization but does not live near a physical lodge or can't physically get to one. So we have kind of a virtual space that we offer membership. And again, this is closed for group, and this one you would be paying to be a member.
Okay, great.
Next slide, please. So what I did here, I'm not going to read through it word for word. Later when we post the webinar, you can pause it here if you want to go through this. But I basically Googled how to set up a Facebook page. And I think I put this slide here first because there's some key ingredients, if you will, to be successful. So you want to make sure that you're prepared to write a description about your organization or your specific lodge, provide contact information, and definitely an about or a story section to kind of talk to what your lodge is going to offer the local community. So again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide, but this is where you could pause it if you wanted to learn kind of what the nuts and bolts are to getting set up first. And then if you flip to the next slide, this is specifically how you would create a Facebook page. So if your local lodge doesn't have anything, this slide will kind of walk you through it. It's obviously very simple. There's roughly, a handful of steps. One of the questions we've been asked is, who managed this? Who will manage this? My recommendation is that you have a team of 2 to 3 people with administrative rights that actually maintain the page. And I would actually keep that, I would hold that statement true for all of your social media sites. But this way it doesn't fall on one person. Here, once you set up the page, you can post events, you can talk about what your members are doing, you can share family recipes, so on and so forth. So this is part of the social media aspect. And again, our largest demographic is Facebook. So this is how you'd set up a Facebook page.
And I'd just like to reiterate what you said about how many people should be able to change the content. When you just have one person, you don't get a very diverse or maybe different views of the situation. When you have three people, you get more of a diversity, and it, like you said, it doesn't fall to that one person to continually add to content. So you would have more diverse content with like three people doing it, and one person wouldn't be overloaded and have a stagnant page. That's the problem many times, that when an organization starts out and just has one person managing it, that one person gets overwhelmed and then doesn't change the content often enough to keep it crisp and keep it new and keep people involved, and then people don't follow it. So having three people do it gives a variety of content and keeps it clean, crisp, and new. So thank you, Mary.
Mm-hmm. So on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about how you want to engage your audience. So the first thing you want to do is set up or write a welcome post. And this basically says, welcome to the Sons of Italy, Lodge 123. We're honored that you're here. Here's some more information about us. And you can say, we focus on music, or we focus on community events, or we have a bocce league, or whatever that looks like. And then I would encourage you to pin that. And so that way it's always up, first thing that people see when they visit your page. Mark alluded to this as sharing meaningful content. And so I'm actually the administrator for 6 different Italian sites, and I would say every audience is different. So once you get a feel for what your audience likes, you'll understand what gets shared, what posts get liked, what people just kind of skip over. Every group that follows you is going to be a little bit different. And so when you have meaningful content and you understand kind of what that flow looks like, you can build a pretty successful page.
And Mary, just for you to kind of update on that or clarify, how do you tell if the content is appropriate to the group? What gives you that information?
So, so the Grand Lodge of Ohio is one of the sites that I administer, and if I put something kind of generic out there, just to kind of, I don't know, maybe an Italian proverb or something, I would say interest level maybe would get to somewhere between 80 and 120. And
that's 80 or 120 likes? Is that
reaches. It would reach that many people. So that many people are clicking on it, sharing it, liking it, and then the reach gets that big.
Okay.
If it's something that's really exciting that people really like, within 48 hours it might hit 12,000. Okay. So I've had sites that jump and things become viral very quickly. So once you hit that sweet spot, you'll want to start to replicate similar posts and then figure out kind of what your audience is looking for.
Okay. And as the administrator, is it only you that know how many views are happening, or can the regular person who goes to the site see how many times it was viewed?
In general, the regular person will not be able to see it. If you post a video, sometimes it'll say the number of the number of views, but in general, you don't see the stats behind the post.
Only the administrator does.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then the other bullet I would highlight here is the events. You can set up the page so that your select group of members are able to see an event, or if you wanted it to be public and open to the public and you ask your members to share, you can do that as well. You can almost do RSVPs if you want online. There's a lot of capabilities that we could take advantage of as an organization that I think would eliminate some of the manual work, but again, it's up to the administrators in terms of how they set things up.
Okay. As far as content goes, I want to again give a shout out to Carolyn Cianciata, who brought in a professional web social media expert to one of our plenary sessions to kind of give us the basics of what to do. And one of the points that he made is that events with food and photos of food are great ways to drive views, and people like to see them and share that. And I don't know if that's been your experience or your experience with specific groups. Can you comment on that?
Yes. So if I do any homemade pictures, the views will skyrocket. If I talk about a recipe, I might get a handful of people, depending on the audience. If I go to a different site and I talk about a recipe there, I might get, significant engagement. So food, and I would say show people of all generations on the pictures. When we do social media, we did I'll talk to this in a minute, but we did a few posts about Get Your Italian On. And when we open it up and we do younger members on certain sites, the views skyrocket. So I would say most social media users are probably younger in age. And when they see like faces, all of a sudden it drives up views. So I would hit every generation if possible.
Good point. Thank you for making that point. Great.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it for Facebook. The next social media platforms we'll talk about are Instagram and Twitter. So if you're not familiar, both of these social media platforms offer they're a little bit different than Facebook. Usually it's their user audience. But if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at sons_of_Italy. You can click on the link as well. And the same with Instagram. We have an Instagram account as well. If you flip to the next slide, one of the advantages you have of setting up a Facebook account.
Carly, the next slide. Thank you.
Thanks. If you set up a Facebook account, you can link your Facebook account to these other sites. And I think one of the best parts is it's so simple you can do it on your phone. You can see the Android steps are there and the iPhone steps. Obviously, just pause the webinar if you want to follow along with that. The only thing that I would caution you with, I have this set up for one of my accounts, and I feel like I don't like posting the same stuff and then it goes to all my different sites because my followers are going to be a little bit different. And so I want to change the post up a little bit differently, so I'm not posting the exact same thing and I'm just doing a generic blast. If I can cater to the audience, then I try to do that just to beef things up, and hopefully it goes viral.
Yes, if I could comment there on Tony Branco made mention of the fact that Facebook was passé for the younger audience, but I don't. Again, we may not be after the younger teen audience, the teens and early 20s. So I think that Facebook is still important for our social media campaigns, and we're not necessarily targeting the teens and the tweens who use the newer types social media. It's good that we know how to do it, but as you said, you like to change up maybe the way that it's presented for the targeting different audiences. But I'm acknowledging that Tony is correct in his assessment that Instagram and Twitter are for younger generation, but I think that social for the sons and daughters of Italy, the sweet spot may be Facebook for now, because people again are used to it and they're comfortable with it, and I think it's still appropriate for us. And until that changes, I think that's going to be the mainstay of our social media.
I agree. While we're looking to recruit, we still want to retain, so we'll keep our current members happy as well.
That's a very good point. Thank you.
So on the next slide, we talk about Twitter, and kind of the same deal. You can share your Facebook posts on Twitter. So if you want, the simplicity of just saying, I'm just going to do this once and it gets on every platform, you can easily do that. Otherwise, you can set up a Twitter account. You can still link it to Facebook, so you have that option if you choose, but at the same time, you can set up your own Twitter account and then just follow suit with the steps on this slide.
Can you compare and contrast Twitter and Instagram? What differences might be?
Twitter, and Carly, you can talk to this because you manage the Sons of Italy at the national level. Instagram to me is quick pictures. I'm not going to speak in, if I do speak in complete sentences on Instagram, I do feel a little outdated. Twitter is probably, more news related. It's almost like a news feed, if you will, whereas Instagram, you're getting a lot of stories and they're going to be picture based. Okay.
All right. You're educating me, so I appreciate it. As I said, that's why I have you doing the main presentation with Carly in the background I'm just kind of focusing questions that I've learned a lot, but still have a lot to learn, and I appreciate you going over that. So thank you.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we launched as a National Membership Commission was a YouTube channel in 2019. The channel itself is called Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, and the link is the first line. And we decided we were going to create a call for videos. And so the first part of the year, when we initially launched it, we said we were going to do cooking and baking videos, and then mid-year we were going to do something around the wine theme, and then focus on family traditions kind of in Q4. To date, we have 16 videos that are posted, and we've got hundreds of people that have viewed them. We have, 30-plus subscribers, which I think is pretty good for just launching the site not too long ago. And so part of this is we want this channel, we want everyone to be able to share this with their lodges, hopefully get some ideas to either create your own video or hold an event based on the videos that you see, and then potentially post on social media sites to recruit. We've got stuff from the Sons of Italy Foundation. We have Andrea Bocelli out there. We have a couple lodges who've done wine tasting and share their still videos or share their still photos in a video format. So there's a lot of different ways, and we're more than happy to help you put a video together to post on this channel.
So let's put out a call then to go to that link, the bit.ly/YouTube OSIA, and somewhere on that page is going to be a subscribe button, and all you have to do is press that, and then you're subscribed to that button, and it will bring those videos or those clips up preferentially for you. Is that correct? That's what that subscribe does for you. What exactly does, when you press that subscribe button, what does that do? How does that change how the site views the person who's doing it?
Well, when you subscribe, you'll be notified when a new video pops up.
Okay.
If you just go to the channel, you can visit any of them at any point in time.
All right. So the subscribe button merely will give you notification that a new video has appeared. So it's not going to overwhelm your email account. It's just going to be, since there may be one or two new videos posted to that a week. So all right, and that when you subscribe to that, it bolsters our brand. It bolsters the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy's brand, and that people say, okay, you've got this many people who are following this, so it's helpful for the organization. So just a call to go and subscribe, and hopefully as a result of this webinar, we'll get more people to go on there and subscribe and help. So, Carly, if you want to go forward. Thanks.
So our next social media sites that we'll talk about are Pinterest and LinkedIn, and the format just follows suit. So if you're on Pinterest, be sure to follow us at Sons of Italy. And then on LinkedIn, if you are on that platform, there is a group, Order Sons of Order Sons of Italy in America, and you can follow, post, and follow suit with all the other similar format on the other social media platforms. So 2 of the campaigns that we've run in the last year as a National Membership Commission, in October we had Get Your Italian On, and we did this to support National Italian Heritage Month. And in February we ran hashtag That's Amore and had kind of a Valentine's Day theme around it. We'd love it if you would join these social media campaigns. The first one that we did in October reached about 5,000 people, and then in February we reached nearly 30,000 people. So we definitely built some momentum. I would say, I guess, a couple things. We plan to replicate this in the future. So if you are interested in participating, just post your picture on your favorite social media platform, tag it with Get Your Italian On and hashtag OSDIA. If you're interested in seeing what happened in the past, you should just be able to do a find. If you go to the search bar and then type in hashtag Get Your Italian On, you'll be able to see what we've posted in the past. We're looking for, celebrating your Italian heritage, if you will. So pictures of food, dancing, pictures with family. That seems to be the biggest hit. And Get Your Italian On, usually when we staged it initially, we had people dress up in your favorite Italian garb. So there's people with green, white, and red beads. We've got a ton of Italian T-shirts and so on and so forth. So it's been fun, and I hope this October we'll be able to replicate that and be a little bit more successful. So we're hoping that everyone stays connected. First thing we ask is that you follow us, and that's national. We hope you follow your Grand Lodge and your local lodge. Feel free to follow other lodges and other Grand Lodges. Everyone has great ideas, and I love what they share, so I try to follow as many Sons of Italy lodges, both local and Grand, as possible. Participate in social media campaigns. Obviously, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're trying to become a social media influencer. And then we ask that you promote our Young Members Facebook group to your children and grandchildren to keep the ball rolling to future generations. Some of the things that you can do to promote your posts, like I said earlier, make sure you know your platform and your audience. Everyone's going to react a little bit differently, so it'll take a few rounds to get familiar with it. Make sure you use relevant hashtags. So some generations, if they're looking for something in particular, they might go to Google and then type in the search. Younger generations usually use a hashtag to see what's latest and greatest. For example, if I was looking for Italian wedding cookies, I might go to Google and say images of Italian wedding cookies, whereas younger generations would go to Instagram and say hashtag Italian wedding cookies. You want to make sure that you post with regular cadence. So I would encourage you to do something at least weekly, but don't force it. If you force it, people aren't going to follow you, and it's going to be kind of a tough start. So try to get things lined up before you initially launch your site. I think that'll give you a little bit of relief so you don't feel so much pressure. If you can have multiple administrators, again, 2 to 3 I think is pretty healthy, and they would manage all of your sites or administer all of your sites. Again, pictures are huge, like Mark said. Food is huge, specifically in our culture, and then create events that you can they're open to the public, and then ask members to share, post, like, etc., and that will build momentum around your event. And then the last slide, I think we had a few questions come in.
I'm just gonna go over that question and comment on myself. I don't know who sent it in, but thank you again for the questions, multiple questions. Should the content be monitored, and by whom, the Lodge Council, or should a committee be formed? Well, I think that at a minimum, you should have a committee that's going to do this. And as we said, 2 or 3 administrators is a good number to start out with. And certainly the Lodge Council has got to be the ultimate responsibility for what appears on these social media sites. So they have the ultimate responsibility and the ultimate authority of what's going to be shown. And who should be able to update the media sites? We've discussed that. 2 or 3 administrators is best. It's a good number. It's like Mary said, spread the love so that you have a diversity of outlooks or views on the different subjects. And to the same question, should it be the same person or a group? It should be a group. And the last question, should procedures be written? And I think that's probably a good idea. It may not be necessary at the start, but if you, I'm going to ask Carly to post a boilerplate procedures that Mary Kovac put together for us, and that was great, a great start, and you can modify that for your lodge, and all the things just make sense. But it is good to have it in writing so that people are aware of it from the start. But ultimately, the lodge itself self-determines what their social media presentation should be. Any further comments?
I would say as administrators, you have the ability to remove posts. Obviously, you don't necessarily want to monitor a site, or I shouldn't say that. You don't want to police a site. I think it's okay to monitor, but you don't want to police it and constantly ask people to remove stuff. I think if you set up ground rules up front, all posts should be appropriate for members, respectful of one another. If you are asked to remove a post, do so in a timely manner, stuff like that. Although social media is relatively easy to use, you want to make sure that whoever is going to update your sites is technologically competent, they're motivated to help, and they're reliable. I think those are kind of the keys to set yourself up for success.
Very good. All right. Well, I see it's 7:30, so we hit the 30-minute mark. Carly, if you could jump in and tell us where you could possibly post the PowerPoint presentation so that people have access to it to want to see it at a later date. Would you please jump on and let us know? Yeah. I'm not hearing.
I don't hear either.
Okay. She might be having to dial in or something because she clearly heard us to change the slide.
Carly just pinged me. There is someone that asked a question. What suggestions or ideas do you have to draw members in the 20 to 40 age group? So I think Instagram is probably your hottest platform right now in terms of the ones we discussed. And I would actually suggest someone in that age group monitor or be one of the administrators. Like I said, the content that you put out there is a little bit different than you would on Facebook. Like I said, Facebook, to me, I speak in complete sentences, make it, respectable, whereas on Instagram, I might say, check this out with a picture or, some generic pithy verbiage just to get it out there and then see how that builds.
Okay.
Oh, Carly also said she doesn't have a mic right now.
Okay, so we will get the word out where the slideshow will be available. If you, again, for those watching, if you have questions, you can email them to membership@osia.org. That's membership@osia.org. Just send your questions in, or you could send a request. Where's the slideshow, the PowerPoint being displayed, and we'll get you that information. But thank you very much. Mary, last thoughts?
Well, we had one more question on personal security concerns. So I'm not out there as Mary Kovac at all. I'm OSDIA Cincy. I'm Chowdown Italian Cookies. I'm definitely not myself. So if you are all concerned about putting your personal information out there, make up a name or come up with if you and your husband or your spouse want to create an account together, you can do that as well. You definitely don't have to put your name out there.
Okay. All right. Well, Mary, I think another successful webinar. Thank you for putting it together and for co-hosting with me.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure.
And again, any questions, and certainly questions relating to the presentation or new ideas for future webinars. We're always looking for new subjects and hopefully relating mostly to membership, but we could do some things that are a little further away from that if we find that they would be helpful for a lot of people. So don't be afraid to send in your suggestions, and thank you for your time this evening. Just to mention that the National Convention is being held in August in San Antonio, and the convention starts on Tuesday, August 13, and runs through Saturday the 17th. There'll be elections of officers, and we'll be going over some proposed new bylaws. So just for general information, and certainly we will be posting pictures to the social media during that time. We'll make sure we have some pictures of what's going on. So we'll sign off for now, and thank you for listening in, and thank you, Mary, for a great webinar. And that'll do it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.